Good morning, afternoon, evening, or wherever you may find yourself. This is the Ladybug Laboratory podcast, and I will be your host, Lily. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, and I'll put all that information in the down bar. There is a Ravelry group where you can suggest topics, and that's where all the show notes are, where you can respond to any of the questions, because there are quite a few that I ask, and ask questions of me. So, today is Saturday, April 29th. This should air on May 3rd or May 4th. I am drinking just water in my Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt mug / water tumbler. I'm a little bit off today. Just gonna throw it out there. Such is life, right? I have accepted that my new norm is just to be crazy busy and to run with it. So, that's what it is. We do have a make-along going on, which is the Made For Me make-along. And that's where you make something for yourself with no guilt. And you post in the FO thread. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chatter thread. I am offering prizes for both. The next prizes will actually be part of this segment. And speaking of, this is episode 19A. Excuse me. And today we will have some finished objects, as well as I will post the winners of the drawing for the end of April. There will be one from the FO thread, one from the chatter thread, and one I'll flip a coin. If you're interested in what those prizes are, that is all in episode 18A. I'm also going to talk about one non-knitting craft. It's not even really a craft. And a tiny bit of prattle at the end. So let's go. So for finished objects, I usually start with what you've seen before. But I'm going to kind of go a little bit out of order today. And I'm going to start with the least exciting and move on to the most exciting. So the least exciting is this. I guess you might call it a mug rug or a coaster. I made this basically as a way to do a tutorial for an applied garter edging, which is one of the possible edgings that I'm going to be posting for my stained glass blanket in the tutorials. Which means I have recorded the tutorials. I have not edited them yet. They'll be up eventually. But yeah, I basically just did this as a way to show an applied garter edge. I have not blocked it or anything. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it, but it's here. I just used some Deep Stash acrylic, and I used a US 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter needle. I just made a garter square that was 15 stitches by 30 rows, so 15 ridges, and then I applied a garter border. The next most exciting is also something that I made specifically to, to record a tutorial, and I talked about doing the sort of top and bottom triangles, and I'm nowhere near finished with my blanket, so I thought I needed to go ahead and record that because a lot of people are doing smaller versions and really would like to finish, so I made this. And this is just a pot holder or a trivet or something like that. What I did is I made this sort of like dark maroon, I guess, square, and this pink square. This is, again, Deep Stash acrylic. And then those are my base squares. I did a joining square here in this purple. Then I did these two side squares as per the tutorials that I've already put out. And I did two body squares here, again in the maroon and the pink. And then I did this top triangle and this bottom triangle, and that's what I did the new tutorial for. Then I also use this as an opportunity to do a I-cord applied edging. Yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say about this. This was also done on US 7's 4.5 millimeters. They were both deep stash acrylic. Hey, it works, right? This might be something that I give as a gift. I don't think I would give the mug rug as a gift because I don't know that I feel it's really good enough. But yeah, so I do have the tutorials recorded. Those are 2 just small finished objects that I have, and those are going to go toward me finishing my 52 finished objects this year, which is 1 per every week for the competition that I'm doing. The next most exciting you haven't seen yet, and it makes me really happy. And I put it on my bookshelf over there, and I walk by it at least 3 or 4 times a day, and it makes me smile every time. And this is the Tiny Walrus pattern by Anna Hrachovec, I think. Here it is. It's a tiny walrus! It's so tiny! It's barely 1.5 inches long. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy with this. It's adorable walrus. So, I made the body of the walrus in the Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply, which is 100% superwash merino, fingering weight, and this is the stonewashed colorway. This is leftovers from the body of my grandmother's sweater that I did for last Christmas, which you will know if you're a returning viewer. Here we go. The whiskers, I used a tiny, tiny amount of Telltale Yarn Company Sailor Sock in the oyster base, which is just gray. And then for the tusks and the eyes, I used a tiny bit of black Cascade Heritage, and the nose is a tiny bit of brown fingering that it's way deep stash. I don't even know what it is. But I'm really happy with this, and it's so cute. And last year, Eva of the Charm of It podcast, Eva of the Charm of It podcast, sorry, there's an Eva and an Eva, did a pocket menagerie knit-along where you made a whole bunch of teeny, teeny, tiny, tiny animals. And Eva, if you're listening, I didn't have time to do it because I was working on Christmas gifts, but oh my goodness, I want to do it now. It's so adorable! I'm gonna do it. So, that's my adorable tiny walrus. Next up is a finished object that you saw last time. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna messily put my hair up, forgive me. And that is my Teal Coma headband. So last time that you saw it, I had, let's see. Okay. This is the inside of the headband. So I had knit from about where this blue line starts up to this progress keeper. Okay. And since then, I continued knitting in stockinette. And this base color is Arbor Twist yarns in the Sycamore Sock base, and the colorway is Enchanted. Sycamore Sock is 75, 25, superwash merino, and nylon. So this is what the inside of the headband looks like. And I had done this here without the ribbing as the pocket. So here's what I did. I finished up in stockinette, and then I did 1 purl round. And the purl round helps to sort of bend the fabric. And this is using the Proud as a Peacock hide band, which is a pattern by Deborah Tomasello. And I used US 2's 2.75 millimeters. So, There's a point in the pattern where when you're working on this back section, you add the pocket. So I did that. It's paid for pattern. I'm not going to talk about it too much. But I did add this purl row to fold it. And then on the outside, I did this patterning. So let's see. The background is the sycamore sock. The purple is Telltale Yarn Company Sailor Sock in the Oncoming Storm colorway. There we go, that's good color. The gray is Telltale Company Sailor Sock in the Oyster colorway, and the white is just some Cascade Heritage. Sailor Sock is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. It's actually discontinued. I was going to do it as my Fiber Love this week, my Stash Love, because I love it and I've used it for so many things, but it's discontinued. She has a new base, but not that one. And I haven't tried the new one, so I can't vouch for it. I'm sure it's wonderful, but I can't vouch for it. For the beads, I just used some beads that I had in my stash. Nothing particularly exciting. They're these kind of turquoisey beads. That's about right for color. There are some really accurate pictures on the Ravelry page, which will be in the show notes. Then I went back and I did so I had done an extra 2 repeats of the patterning on the front, which made it wider, which I wanted because I wanted it to cover the ears. So I did another purl row to bend it, and I came back, but then I had this problem. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble holding this. I have many problems today. Then I had this problem where what I had done was about here, but I had, maybe 3/4 of an inch of size difference. So I just kept knitting and stockinette. And then when I got here, I Kitchenered, and inside of here you have the pocket flap. So what I did is I Kitchenered the end of the pocket flap in as I went, and then I went back and seamed the pocket flap to the stockinette back the side, and I added this ribbing, and you can see the tiny pocket. Tiny pocket. This is just about the size of a house key or some folded dollar bills. This is for my mother-in-law, who likes to go on long walks in the winter in upstate New York. And if you know anything about upstate New York, it's pretty cold. It's frequently snowing. And she has, she has a coat pocket, but things always get lost in there. And I know she would appreciate this. One thing that she does quite often is she loves headbands. She loves headbands. So I made this for her. She loves nice thick headbands like this that cover the ears, go across the top, down in the back. I know she will really appreciate this. And it's got this pocket right here, so she can put, anything that she wants to be able to get without digging around. She will love this. She'll love it. I'm so excited to give it to her. So this is my mother-in-law's Christmas gift. This is why I had to put my hair up all messy. I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. It was nice to knit. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to make it again for myself with different colors, different yarn, possibly a different pattern. Now that I understand the techniques for how to make this headband, I might do a different pattern. But I really like it. I'm really proud of the way that this turned out. And my final finished object is, of course, the one that many of you will have clocked already, and that is my Plum Sweater Clan cardigan. So, let's see. This is the sweater. Okay, I don't know how well this is focusing because I can't see right now, so just have to bear with it. The front has this beautiful lace panel. Okay. I did a scoop neck, and the sides have a smaller version of the lace panel. Oops. There we go. up the sleeves, and then the back is buttoned. And what's so great about that is I can actually turn it around and turn it into a cardigan, which I love. So I promised that I would talk about how I made this sweater a little bit more when I finished it. So I got the idea, basically I made the looking back sweater, which is by Joji Locatelli, and she has this pattern is from that sweater, this pattern is from that sweater, and the button idea is from that. So I bought that pattern, and one of the things about that pattern is it's knit top down, and it's knit in the round, and then they have sleeves that you pick up. And I know that I have a lot of trouble getting standardized size sweaters to fit me. And if I'm going to spend all of that time working on a sweater, I want it to be perfect. And I want it to fit. And those of you that are returning viewers know that I often will use Custom Fit, which is a program by Amy Herzog, to get my sweaters to fit correctly. So I did a swatch. The swatch is about this big. It's not here right now, but I did a swatch, measured the swatch, plugged it into Custom Fit. But here's the thing about Custom Fit. Custom Fit is bottom up, seamed, and set-in sleeves, which I actually wanted. I wanted it seamed with set-in sleeves because I know that fits me better. So I plugged in the Custom Fit pattern, or the numbers into Custom Fit. I plugged my swatch in, but I knew that this lace panel and this lace panel were going to loosen it up. So I got the numbers from Custom Fit, and I worked it backwards. So for instance, on this front panel, it had me come up, do the shoulders, and then bind off 15, and then do another row, and then bind off the remaining 16, I think. And I had cast on a certain amount, right? And so what I did is I worked backwards. I cast on 16, and I did a row, and I cast on another 15 over here. And then I kept going down, and I would increase every time the pattern said to decrease, and vice versa. So, let's see. Right along here, this is supposed to be decreases, but I did increases instead. I just did a make one right or make one left. And I think it worked out pretty well. And then vice versa down here, these, I don't even know if you can see that. This is not really working. There we go. Those are supposed to be increases, but I did decreases. So that's how I did this. And of course I had to add the patterning in, because in Custom Fit, you plug it in. Custom Fit is not set up to have buttons in the back. It's set up to be front button cardigan or, you know, a jumper. That's the word I was looking for. Goodness gracious, I cannot words today. So what I did is I actually reduced the front panel, I believe, by 4 stitches once I got the patterning from Custom Fit, which was just something that I picked out because I thought it would approximately make up for the room that this lace panel made. So then, since I was doing it backwards, so in the Custom Fit you would bind off these, and then you would go and come back and decrease by 2, and go and come back and whatever. And then do the same thing on the other shoulder. So instead, I did the 2 shoulders down, and as I increased, I started this side pattern, and I set it up so that I actually adjusted the numbers a little bit. I don't remember how many stitches this is, but I think originally Custom Fit wanted me to bind off 2 more than this, and instead I just added a row where I increased by 1 so that when I cast on this whole section, it was exactly the width of this center section. So then when I cast this on, I went straight into the patterning, and I had set up and just done 2 simple rows of this side pattern so that it would line up with that one. So that's what I did for the front panel, and then all the way down I followed the Custom Fit pattern, except that I added this. And then of course I got to the bottom, there we go, did the ribbing, and I did a tubular bind off. So then we get to the back. And the problem with the back is the custom fit pattern had me set up to do just one piece in the back. And their patterns have the neckline in the back, like right up against here. And since I knew I wanted this to be reversible, the original looking back pattern also has it coming up here. And I knew I wanted it to be a little bit lower than that so that I could turn around and turn it into a cardigan. And as a side note, the only reason I was really able to do this is because I have a relatively small bust, which means that the numbers in terms of number of stitches in the back versus number of stitches in the front are actually the same for me on custom fit, which they're not for many other people. The reason that they're the same for me is Amy Herzog has it plugged in so you'll have a little bit more negative ease over your bust than you do over everywhere else. So it ends up being about the same for me. Sometimes it's off by 2 or 3 stitches, but nothing huge. And so I knew it would be roughly approximate to turn it around. So when it came to doing the back, the collar in the pattern was 1 inch, and this is 1x1 twisted rib. And the button band was also 1 inch. So I knew what my gauge was, and I knew, so then I was able to figure out from my gauge how many stitches would make an inch. So I took my stitch count from my back section, I subtracted 1 inch worth of stitches, and then I divided it by 2. And that way I got 2 separate back panels. Now, that still left me with the problem of it being very close. And I'm going to try and show this to you. I don't know how close it's going to get on the camera. But if you can see there, there's a little bit of a V neck. And what I did, oops, I hope you could see that. What I did is I cast on the shoulders backwards like I had for the front. I cast on at the top. And in custom fit, they have you go down a certain amount and then just basically bind off straight. There's very little tapering in the back. There's a little bit, but not very much. So what I did is, instead of doing that, I just kept increasing, I think by 1 stitch every other round from the shoulders. So I increased until it was the number of stitches it was supposed to be. And then I followed the custom fit pattern backwards for the rest of it, all the way down. So that left me with my sleeves. And originally I had thought I was going to decrease the number of stitches in the sleeves because I knew that the lace patterning was going to add some room, but I ended up deciding not to do that. And the first reason is because my previous sweater, the sleeves were pretty tight. And I had adjusted my desired measurements in custom fit, so I knew they would be better this time. But I figured, you know, it's not the end of the world if they're a little bit too loose. But the main reason that I decided not to do that is because if I had fewer stitches at my sleeve cap, that would make it not line up with the part where I was supposed to set it in. So I basically did the same process. I was supposed to cast on a certain number of stitches, and I cast on, I think, 2 more than that to make this line up, which means that I did 1 fewer increase on each side, and then the rest of it, I just followed all the way down, followed the patterning from looking back, and did my 1x1 twisted rib and a tubular bind off. Then I just seamed them together the way you would with any seamed sweater, and I picked up the button band the same way that you would with any seamed sweater. So I started at the bottom, in the back, went all the way up, across the V, around the neckline, and then all the way back down on the other side. And I knit that as a 1-inch 1x1 twisted rib. And I added my buttons. And that's all I did. And I am very, very, very happy with this sweater. It makes me incredibly happy. It feels like I'm wearing a cloud. And it's a warm cloud. And it's a comfy cloud. And I feel like I look all spiffy because I have this lace section. But I feel lazy. I'm comfy. And I love it. And it's reversible. I'm very happy with this. So those are my finished objects today, and now we're gonna move on to some other stuff. So for a non-knitting craft, this is not really even a craft. The long and the short of it is I live in an apartment. It's a cheap budget apartment because that's what we needed at the stage in our life when we came here. And there is nothing wrong with that. But it does mean that we don't have the best maintenance in the world. And the equipment doesn't get upgraded very often. Lots of people live in that situation. But for me, I don't, in particular, have a lot of control over it. Which is fine. Like, I can live with a semi-functioning food disposal, right? So, speaking of my disposal in my kitchen sink, it is not the best. It doesn't... It will chop everything up, and it disposes of them appropriately, but the drainage system doesn't work 100% of the time. So a lot of the time, some of the food that you've disposed in the disposal will sort of sit there for a couple of days. And as food does, it begins to decay, and it smells awful. And there's not really anything I can do about it, because we can't put bleach on the disposal because of the type that we have. It will break it. So, and I can't get in there. I can't do maintenance on it. There's nothing I can do. It's fine. It just smells awful. So, I have a jar. I know, fancy, French onion dip. It's just an old French onion dip jar, obviously. And it looks like it's filled with goop, and it kind of is. And what this is basically a bunch of Epsom salt and some water and a whole bunch of essential oil. And so anytime that the sink starts to bother me, I just take a spoonful of this and plop it in the disposal, and I run the disposal, and all the old stuff will get run out, and this will now be what's sitting in the bottom of the disposal, and it smells a lot better. And because it's got the Epsom salt in it, it's not just essential oil, it's sort of gloppy enough that it will sit in there and actually stay and change things. So I think I did like 2 cups of Epsom salt and a 1/4 cup of water or something, and I stuck it in a blender. Like, really, that's all I did. Stuck it in a blender with some essential oil, maybe like a tablespoon, teaspoon, about a tablespoon, I think, of essential oil. And then I poured it into a jar, and it sits next to my sink. And that's it. Fancy, I know. So, that's the only, I can't words, non-knitting craft that I have to show you for this section. And yeah, I guess that's time to move on to prattle. So for prattle today, my husband is currently overseas on a business trip, which is all fine and dandy. That's probably him messaging me now. And I have kind of accepted that the state of my life at this phase of life that I'm in, because life goes through phases, is to be very busy, constantly, and always feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But really, I'm busy with things that I want to do. And that's okay. I go a little bit nuts when I don't have anything going on in my life. And you know what? It's okay to be busy. As long as I don't get so busy, as I was the past few months, that it starts to really take a toll on me and my mental health, a healthy dose of busy is good for me. So I'm kind of owning that, and I've decided that I'm just going to be happy with that. And you know what? It's okay if I don't get as much knitting done as I want to. And it's okay if I go an extra 4 days without doing the laundry. Oh no, we'll survive. And you know what? That's life, right? And that's the stage of life that I'm in, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to let it be. And that's about all that I have for you today. I know this has been a little bit of a short episode. There hasn't been a ton going on in my life recently. So this one, as well as 19 Part B, will also be pretty short. But that's it. So happy stitching. Thanks for stopping by. And I'll see you all on the other side. Bye. Hey everybody, it's Lily from the future right now. I just wanted to pop in super quickly and let you guys know some information that I wouldn't have known until today, which is May 1st. So to start with, I'm going to announce the winners of the March and April giveaways, or the winners of the March and April knit-along, the make-along. Now, I cannot find my tablet, so I'm not able to do the number generation while I'm recording, because I do record on my phone. And yeah, so I already did it. You just have to trust me. I used random.org. It's not the end of the world, right? So our first prize is 2 skeins of Haute Knit yarn. And that's a fingering weight, superwash merino, I believe. Yep, 100% superwash merino, 490 yards and 100 grams each. And that was from the FO thread, and random.org picked number 28, which is Philippa MC from Portugal. So congratulations, Philippa. Shoot me a message, let me know your favorite colors and your address, and I'll get this sent out to you as soon as possible. So congratulations. The second one was the Chatter thread, and that was 1 skein of Barocco Mykonos, maybe? Which is, yeah, the lighting is really awful today, but you know what? That's when I had a chance to do it. It's this beautiful, very unique looking yarn, and you guys are going to love this. So the person that won that is number 20, which is Briem Chavez from California. And Briem won the extra prize last time, I think. Yeah. And the post that won was her saying how excited she was. So, Bree, if you still want this, you can absolutely have it. If you don't want another bundle of joy, let me know. And let me know your favorite colors and send me your address again, just in case I don't have it anymore. But congratulations, Bree! And finally, I flipped a coin, and the flip landed on the finished objects. So the finished objects got our random extra bundle of joy. And that landed on Kelly M. Knitter, number 21, who also won last time. So Kelly, again, let me know if you want something else instead, or what it is that you want to do. But yeah, those are our winners, so go ahead and get in contact with me. Even if I already have your address, let me know anyway, just in case I don't have it, or I copied it down wrong or something. So yeah, congratulations, everybody!